is this the time we make a Canucks rant finally? Because a big move has been made. Surprising move, but it has been made.
Hey, I'm going to say this much.
Can we say what the move is
Congratulations,
first?
because you are not rolling out with the same roster again, at least. So thank you for that, because you're actually made a move that like is a change. They're not rolling out with the same roster that failed them the last 2 years.
Defensively, at least. But
yeah.
Here's what he's referring to. Oliver Ekman Larsson has officially been bought out by the Canucks. It has been confirmed by the Canucks. This isn't no reports or any projections. So let's get started here. We finally get to talk about the Canucks. I'm surprised that this happened because of a cheap owner, right? The trade, obviously in hindsight, now should have not happened in the first place. Obviously, when the trade went down, to be fair to our cousin, he was against it. But we were kind of like, okay, OEL could revive himself.
We were on the
make the playoffs.
Trend like, okay, these guys could make the playoffs, and
OEL could revive himself.
I didn't like the OEL piece. I like the Garland piece.
And he still might get traded as well.
He underwhelmed me a little bit. I expected a little bit more from Garland.
Yeah,
but he was still decent enough.
The reason why that trade made no sense was you also traded away Dylan. Well, not Dylan. You traded the pick that was Dylan Gunther. Now, does that mean Benning would have selected Dylan Gunther? I don't know. That's something we have to ask Benning at the time.
But here's the thing. Jim Benning was doing what Jim Benning needed to do to save his job.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing anything because he fucked the bubble.
Yeah.
Right? He fucked it. How the hell do you we're like, oh, Toffoli could come back, or at least, Toffoli.
You traded a second to get Toffoli. And a top prospect who didn't pan out, but still top prospect at the time.
Yeah, no, there was Toffoli, there was Tanev, there was Stetcher, and there was Markstrom. We're like, maybe 3 of the 4 could have come back, because Markstrom makes sense that he was gone, right? He was big contract.
I was still in the team trade Markstrom, but obviously it was tough because we were in a playoff spot. We were in a playoff spot,
right? Yeah. And we had no goalie.
Demko,
but he obviously Demko turned up in the bubble.
Yeah.
How the hell do you let Tanev, Toffoli, and Stetcher leave? All right, there's no way you go 0 for 3 on those 3.
And then you replaced
Stetcher's like legit 1.5 million
at that time. Yeah. Sorry, to fill in your Markstrom point, you did a good job by bringing in Braden Holtby.
Well, looking for replacement wise.
Yeah. But the one that didn't make sense was.
But obviously,
we don't want to go back to the past too much.
I know, but quickly, obviously, the Holtby thing did.
Because he brought back for Tannen instead of Toffoli for $4 million.
And
like
then
Toffoli was
Stetcher
$4 million.
Stetcher as well.
But
so that's Jim Benning's fault. Obviously, Jim Benning's gone now, thankfully.
So obviously, I can't blame Rutherford.
So we can't blame the new management
too much on it.
But then here's what I'm gonna say: the new management were making all these points of like changes need to be made. We gotta clear cap. We gotta make changes to the roster because
you're talking about last year, right?
Yeah, like they made all these claims, but they did not follow through with anything.
So here's my thing with that: they doubled down on this. So first, let's talk OEL. Then we'll go into the Canucks as a whole. OEL is officially bought out. He's officially a free agent. He's getting paid by the Canucks. His cap hit gets plunged this year, but we will be paying him. It's the biggest cap hit for a buyout player in history, I believe. And we'll be paying him till 2031. I think the cap hit on average will be like $4 million a year after this year. So it's still a lot of cap. With the rumors that the cap is only moving up $1 million. For this year, it's fine. Hopefully it moves up a lot next year. This space, now this is where the important part is. OEL, great person from what I heard. I loved him in Arizona. I didn't want him on the Canucks at the time we got him during the Canucks. Even the rumors before when we got Nate Schmidt instead of him, I was like, let's go. We don't need that cap hit. Obviously that trade happened. But we moved on now. Problem is, even without OEL, doesn't matter. Our defense is shit. Right? Ethan Bear, RFA, who's going to be out till December anyways. Right? We made the Philip Hronek trade. Not a fan of what we gave up, but I'm a fan of what the player could be. It's still a risk. And you needed to pay Philip Hronek anyways.
Yeah, no. But the games that Philip Hronek played, just like...
He was decent.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He was good. He was really good.
But the problem is he's coming off a hip surgery now, or hip injury, whatever he...
Yeah, so
some type of injury he's got.
That's where the question mark is.
So that's going to be the question mark. You have a generational defenseman in...
Quinn Hughes.
I want to say generational, might be too high of a term, but an elite defenseman in Quinn Hughes, right? Who improved his defensive game, and he could make guys like Noah Juleson look decent with him. So that's fine. You could still live with that. Obviously, you would still prefer to have like an elite defensive guy.
Yeah, just like think as in soccer terms, opposite of Harry Maguire.
Okay.
right? Because
I did not expect you to go there, but
Harry Maguire makes everyone look bad. Quinn Hughes makes everyone look good.
okay, yeah. So here's the thing: who are you gonna pair with Philip Hronek, right? OEL.
That for me,
We don't have any
we
left,
don't- we don't-
elite left shot.
that's why for me, number one priority defenseman is not finding a partner for Hughes, is finding a partner for Hronek,
Yeah,
right?
because we haven't seen Hronek carry his line.
Yeah, and then in that case, Hronek already being a right shot defenseman, so an unpopular opinion would be maybe we need a left shot defenseman more.
Honestly,
And-
you're not the only one that said that. Halford and Brough were talking about that too. I think Jason Brough was saying that.
Actually,
Yeah,
Oh.
they're saying that they might feel like obviously we need both. Clearly,
yeah, obviously we need just
and
good
we're drafting
defensemen.
11, and there's some right shot D, left shot D.
So
there.
now we're not like handcuffed by saying, "Oh, we need a right
See,
defenseman."
we have
right?
that cap space for this next year. How are you gonna make more? Are you gonna trade Garland, Besser, Beauvillier, right? If you're gonna make the playoffs, Thatcher Demko ain't getting traded. That makes no sense to me, especially when he carried you to a spot that we needed him. We didn't need to be in, but he still carried the Canucks to like a top 10. They were 11th, right? 11th best odds. Yeah, 11th pick, right? So yeah, 11th best odds, which means they rose from like 6th worst to 11th worst. Can you use this $7 million in cap space? How are you gonna allocate it in the summer? And you still need to make more moves, right? The draft is still coming up. Are you gonna move on from JT Miller miraculously? This also moves up some cap space for your shirt you're wearing, Patterson. Because he needs an extension, right? I'm not going out next year with Patterson not being on a contract. You need to pay him by August, the latest. So for me, as the key is how are you gonna build this roster? Because it's gonna be a massive failure if you do not make the playoffs next year. Because that's what you're preaching, right? Now you're on your second year. You didn't have anything to do with this OEL trade. I'm sure you tried moving OEL. I'm sure they probably teams asked for like this year's first. Good thing you didn't trade that just to get off the contract. Yeah, so it depends on how you use this to propel the team.
The one thing that this management team does good is that like they built that third and fourth line forwards
And defensemen.
and
Some of the defensemen.
some third pair defensemen. Well, now the only issue is how could you add a top four defenseman and a third line center, obviously, right?
Yeah, which is tough.
And that third line center doesn't have to be like driving his own line. The third line center needs to win faceoffs, kill penalties, and just be a great guy, you know.
So can you find that like there's guys obviously like Barbashev who just priced himself out. Gavrikov obviously signed, but in general, can you find someone like that on the free agency market because you have that cap space to help out right now? Like you said, for me, at the end of the day, you could be the first overall pick. You still need to be developed well. When we mentioned the Rangers last episode
with Lafreniere,
Lafreniere and Kakko and all these guys and Kravtsov, at the end of the day, yes, you would still bet on that talent, which is why the Canucks kept Virtanen for the longest time. But you've seen guys like Datsuk in the past, Zetterberg in the past, late picks, Mark Stone, develop into something that elite, right?
They're elite.
So
players.
The Canucks, they right now, I believe in the Sedins. I believe in Mikhail Samuelsson, Chris Higgins, and all these guys. Mike Komisarek. They are developing guys well. You're looking at Niels Oman, who made the roster from the beginning,
And
right?
Abbotsford Canucks had a good season.
Yeah, like they were like
And then their coach, how is it, Jeremy Covington or something?
Jeremy Colleton, former Chicago coach, one of the youngest coaches, has developed pieces there. Archie Baines, I hope he gets a call up next year. It'll be tough at the beginning, but at least on injury side of things, I think he would have been called up this year if it wasn't for the rules. Every time I hear Chris Faber, who I listen to a lot because he literally knows these prospects and the Abbotsford Canucks well, it was like, yep, Archie Baines up there. Who's the guy that we dropped? Klimovich. Propelled under this coaching staff.
Hoglander improved.
Hodgkosen,
like he struggled.
he was up and down and he was injured.
Yeah, he was up and down, but Hoglander improved a lot because
You got Linus.
Hoglander got chucked in there.
Jet Wu was a write-off now to the point where Jet Wu could make the squad next year.
No, but the point with Hoglander is he was, because of Jim Benning's stupid decisions, Hoglander was just chucked in there.
Yeah.
And yes, he had a good rookie year.
But then that's a rookie year. No one knew him.
Everyone, no one, now when that people like, all right, this guy's a good focus because they helped the Canucks win games, right? So obviously ever since then he started struggling because he never got developed properly.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of the development stuff here, so that's where I'm okay with it. Just offensively, I'm fine. Yeah, if you keep JT Miller, fine, right? Like I think he should be okay as a 2C. Pedersen, bring him back. If Pedersen doesn't come back, that's a whole different story. But we have a number one defenseman, we have a number one goalie, we have a number one center.
Yeah, right.
We had a guy with like a potential superstar status in Elias Pedersen. Can you build the pieces around him? You have a good fourth line. Can you build a decent third line?
And there's obviously like it's like every team, but this team is going to go as far as Pedersen, Hughes, and Demko. All three combined take them because the previous year Pedersen struggled and Demko was god tier, right? And Hughes was okay. This year Hughes improved, PD improved, but Demko struggled. Same result. If those three combined are playing their best hockey at the same time,
then can you build a chance? And can you build a piece?
That was one of the issues.
JT Miller as well.
Yeah, that was one of the issues as well. And obviously you could chuck in JT Miller. But that was one of the big issues this last couple of years because those three never clicked at the same time.
Yeah. So the last thing, because we're gonna cover this more in the draft, I don't want to.
And then when they click at the same time near the end of the season, you saw.
Yeah. But now here's the thing:
what?
the end of the season is a different
end
result.
End of the season doesn't matter because
you're playing teams that are already probably tanking. B, you're playing teams that are well locked in, and they're probably not.
There's no pressure.
There's no pressure.
The pressure is getting a good start.
Yeah, you haven't had that's the thing, right? Can you the next year if you guys don't make the playoffs? I don't know what's gonna happen to this province, this city, the Lower Mainland here. So a lot's riding on this. So you definitely still gotta make more moves.
There's one move I heard on the radio that I honestly liked, and I told you about this like a couple of days ago, which was a defenseman adding Brandon Dillon. He has like a 3 million AAV, and he's also he's a left shot.
Surrey boy. Obviously, could pair with Hronek. But yeah.
Pair with Hronek.
Yeah.
But he also has experience playing on the right side because he played with John Carlson, Erik Karlsson on the right side. So if you want to chuck him up with Hughes, that could still that could fit.
So you definitely gotta make moves. Clearly, if you guys don't make the playoffs, Francesco is gonna fire your ass because he's only paying OEL because he believes you guys can get into the playoffs. I don't even care about the Francesco side of things.
Well, one thing. What about Myers? Is he a free agent after this?
After this year, he needs to get his signing bonus, which is in September. Then he'll be easier to trade then, not now.
Okay, so like obviously this year's focus is playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But what do you think the chances are that Myers brings back value in the off season or at the deadline? Because he's a 1 year, right? And then players
he'll bring value once he gets a signing bonus paid, according to Frank Cervelli.
Yeah,
because
right.
The cap pay won't be as big.
Yeah, so
it's a right shot defenseman. Those have value,
right? People.
If Erik Goodbranson got a 4x4 contract at this past offseason, Myers has value. I understand Myers.
Yeah, but $6 million. The $6 million is like
the one that
it doesn't matter now.
Yeah,
because
Tyler Myers is an okay defenseman.
He's not a $6 million defenseman.
He's not a $6 million defenseman, but it shows the inflated value of a right shot demon.
Yeah.
Look what we gave up for Philip Hronek.
Yeah, right.
And Philip Hronek can probably end up getting $7 million by us eventually.
Yeah, so also clearing up that cap for Philip Hronek is important.
So last thing.
So Hronek and Pedersen will be free agents at the same time, right? Like they both.
I don't know about if Hronek's gonna be an RFA.
Yeah, no, but like there will be like.
But PD will be an RFA.
Yeah, like we need to offer them basically. Yeah. Like there will be free agents.
Yeah.
At the same time,
essentially. So and you also don't want to waste that heck of a contract you have. The one good thing Benning did before he got fired.
Quinn Hughes contract.
No, not that. The Demko contract.
The Demko contract is a steal.
5x5 is a steal. So you have like 3 more years remaining from it. But anyways, last thing before we go on to the Jesper Bratt news, Francesco, obviously slight props. You're actually doing this, but you're an idiot for still not firing Jim Benning when
the
you
Wizards.
needed to.
It's the Wizards.
Yeah, that's why it was like a little heated towards that side of things. No, the heated thing will come on later. But yeah, you did do that, but you need to approve some other things. Let's see what this front office does now. So it all lies on that. So this opens up moves, but yeah, at the end of the day, if they don't do well this year, they're obviously gone because no way Aquilini's gonna be keeping them if you're gonna be paying OEL not to play for them till 2031.